Hello everyone, it's Grace and welcome back to another video. Today I have a book haul for you and there are I think about 10 books in this haul. They're books that I have collected over the past, I would say 2 months, because the last book haul that I did was sort of like a Christmas holidays one, and this one is kind of like the first official book haul of 2022. So I have actually read a few of these books already because I have had them for a little bit and they were either on my January TBR or they were like new releases that I had pre-ordered. So I will go through those, but let's just get right into it. These are really in no particular order except for how I piled the pile. So the very first one up is The Justice of Kings by Richard Swan, which I just put up a review of not long ago, and this came out last week, so this is one that I had pre-ordered. So I have not read from this physical copy of it. I was reading an electronic ARC, but now I have the physical copy and it is really nice to look at this, I was about to say album art for some reason. It's really nice to look at this cover art in person because I do think that even though I usually don't love like a more realistic person on my covers, I think it really works with this one. So I'm a big fan of that. And this is a book that is about law and justice, basically. So I found this really interesting and I thought it was a great debut. The second one on this haul, and another book that I've already read, is How High We Go in the Dark by Sequoia Nagamatsu, and this is a sci-fi book about a near future climate plague that sweeps the earth and how humanity responds to it, and this is set up in a series of interconnected short stories following characters that are connected to each other in one manner or another. And this was a really, really interesting book. Admittedly, I originally purchased it because of how gorgeous the cover was, but then reading the synopsis, I knew that I was truly interested in it. And this is something that I would recommend really widely. I'm really glad that I got this, and I'm really glad that I managed to read it so soon after the release date, because I think that a lot more people should read this. Next up, we have the long-awaited Dawn Shard by Brandon Sanderson. So I have not read Dawn Shard. I have been waiting this entire time for this mini hardback to come out. At the time, I didn't really read ebooks. Now, I would probably have read it as an ebook. If it was coming out now. But as it was, I wanted to wait for the physical copy, so I am not sure when I'm going to read this. I might wait until I go into my big reread of Stormlight before the 5th book comes out. However, I do know that this is relevant for things that happen in Rhythm of War. Not necessary, but relevant. So I might read it sooner than that. I'm not entirely sure, but I am excited to find out what is in here once I do get to it. Next up, we have Guns of the Dawn by Adrian Tchaikovsky, and I've wanted to try Adrian Tchaikovsky for a while now. I know that people, Alan in particular, have been kind of championing the reading of his series, and this is a standalone, which is one reason why I chose it, and I don't even really know what it's about aside from the fact that it includes war, and we have a really, really cool main character named Emily Marshwick, who is sort of like a lady, or like a noblewoman, but she decides that she is gonna go to war, and it just sounds cool. Every time Alan talked about it, it sounded great. So I finally decided to buy it. And I'm really excited about this being my first of Adrian Tchaikovsky's books, so hopefully I will get to this soon. Next up, speaking of Alan, we have Spin the Dawn, which was so kindly sent to me by him as sort of like a prize for winning Jeopardy in January or December. I don't even remember. That episode kept getting pushed back, but I did win on Jeopardy, so he picked Spin the Dawn. And so the vibes of this, the general plot, is that we have a girl who dresses as a boy in order to join this tailoring or like sewing or dressmaking competition, and she kind of has to like disguise herself if she wants to be able to compete in this thing. And I've heard it compared to Project Runway, but then I've also heard that that's not a great comparison once you actually get into it, so I'm really not sure. But I kind of just like was interested in this because it seems like a really unique concept for a YA fantasy, and I'm hopeful that that will mean that it's like appealing because I haven't really read something like this before. So I am really looking forward to this. Next up, we have The Bitter Twins by Jen Williams, and I ordered this from Book Depository because I was really hoping to have Ninth Reign read by now, but I have not read Ninth Reign. So this is the sequel to Ninth Reign, and of course, you know, reading this will be contingent on reading Ninth Reign. So I would say that I will hopefully get to this soon, but I will hopefully get to Ninth Reign soon, and then I will be able to get to this as well. Next up, we have a couple of books that I talked about in my March TBR, the first of which is Ship of Magic by Robin Hobb, the first book in the Live Ship Traders series, which is the recommended second trilogy to get into in the realm of the Elderlings. And I ordered this from Book Depository as well because I love these covers and I started to get farcier in these covers, so I'm going to try and be consistent with that and continue on with them. And I'm so excited for Live Ship. This is one of the series that I am most excited to get into. This is a big chonker, but I am really hopeful to get to that this month, so hopefully this one will be off the TBR soon. The second book in this haul that I talked about in my March TBR is Illborn by Daniel T. Jackson, and I don't know if anyone has noticed, but my copy I'm pretty sure is a new binding because this is not as chunky as like the others. Like, I've seen people hold this book up in videos and it is massive, and I've checked, I have the whole book in here, but it's smaller, so it must be a new printing, a new binding, something. But this is self-published fantasy, obviously by Daniel T. Jackson, and Andrew and Leslie are running a read-along for this, and I am just really, really excited for this. I did include this in my self-published fantasy TBR video. If you're interested in hearing a little bit more about it, I will link that. But yeah, I'm just really excited to get into more self-published stuff. The second last book in this haul is another one that I have already read, and that is Age of Ash by Daniel Abraham. I absolutely love this cover. There is just something about this art that the feeling that it gives me really fits the book inside, so I'm always all about that. But I do have a dedicated review for Age of Ash because this was another one that was a new release that I had pre-ordered, so I now have the physical copy of it. But I really like Daniel Abraham and I really wanted to support him, so of course I pre-ordered this, and I enjoyed this book. I do think that it was characteristic of the first in a Daniel Abraham series. It was a little bit slower, but there were some things to really like about it as well, like the magic system and a few of the characters that were really intriguing. So I'm looking forward to the second in this series whenever it comes out. Finally, the last book in this haul is another one that I talked about in my March TBR, and that is The Winter of the Witch by Catherine Arden, the finale of the Winter Night trilogy. This is a beautiful book. This is one where it was a given that I was going to buy it because of how much I've loved the first two, and I'm not going to say anything about the plot because this is the third book, but this is like a Russian-inspired historical fantasy, and this is like a very atmospheric, cold setting, and it has great characters. There's so much to love about this series so far, and I am so excited to read the finale. So this is one of my favorite books in this haul, and I guess saving the best for last? I don't know. Not really intentionally, but I am so excited to read this book. So those are all the things that I have acquired in the last like month and a half, 2 months or so. I am really excited about the ones that I have not read yet, and if you're interested in the ones that I have already read, I will link their respective videos in my description, and you can go check those out if you would like to. But I really hope that you enjoyed this haul. Please like this video if you liked it, subscribe if you want to see more content from me, and I hope that you have a fantastic rest of your day. Bye!